Are you interested in Charlotte Mason homeschooling for your family? If you're considering homeschooling your child with the Charlotte Mason method, this video is for you. I'll be explaining what the Charlotte Mason method is and why you might want to consider it in your homeschool. So the Charlotte Mason method of homeschooling was created by Charlotte Mason, who was a British author and teacher in the late 1800s. And Charlotte Mason homeschool families focus on exposing kids to nature and lots of high quality living books as textbooks. So the idea of a living book is a term that was created by Charlotte Mason and is used in Charlotte Mason homeschool methods. And a living book means that instead of finding a textbook for your child, you're going to teach them using a novel or using just a regular book. So instead of taking tests in the Charlotte Mason method, kids use narration or dictation to tell what they've learned. So narration is when they're just telling you about what they learned in a story, and dictation is when they're writing down the things that they would have said in their narration. So they're either reading a book and then telling you about what they've learned, or they're reading a book and maybe writing in a journal about what they have learned. But that's how kids communicate what they've learned in a Charlotte Mason method instead of taking a test. Charlotte Mason lessons are usually really short, and Charlotte Mason homeschoolers are focused on developing good habits through learning experiences. There's lots of reasons why Charlotte Mason might be a great fit for your homeschool. The first one is that in a Charlotte Mason homeschool method, kids get lots of exposure through nature. Charlotte Mason really focuses on nature studies, sending kids outside to go on walks and to explore and to observe. And so if studying nature is important to you, then you're going to love Charlotte Mason in your homeschool, because the Charlotte Mason method uses a lot of those nature studies. This is a great way to teach kids about observation and just to develop a love of nature and animals in your kids. Charlotte Mason also allows kids to experience classic literature through those living books that we were talking about. So kids are using real books instead of textbooks to learn. And this can be a really great way to encourage kids' imaginations and to help really get them engaged in what they're learning, because often the living books really allow them to be a part of the story and to really feel like they're there during the time period, or like they're there learning about what it is that they're studying. So classic literature and living books can be a really great way to include those things in your homeschool. Charlotte Mason homeschooling also focuses on life experiences and hands-on lessons. So kids are out doing things and trying things to learn. And again, this is something that can be really fun and really motivating for kids. Charlotte Mason uses narration and dictation to assess what kids have learned without needing to give tests. This is really great because it allows us as parents to see what our kids are learning and remembering without having to create that stressful environment of them taking a test. And as parents that are homeschooling, this can be a really great way to know what our kids are learning. Charlotte Mason also uses really short lessons, which help keep kids engaged. And Charlotte Mason homeschooling has a Christian influence and focuses on building good habits and character. So if that's something that's really important to you in your homeschool, Charlotte Mason really does focus on those character building things and character traits and building good habits as kids are learning as well. Finally, Charlotte Mason homeschooling can be really inexpensive. There are a lot of Charlotte Mason resources that are available at libraries. Because it uses living books instead of textbooks, a lot of times you can find those resources at your library, or sometimes they might be out of print books that are available on the internet for free. And so Charlotte Mason homeschooling can be really inexpensive and a great plan for families that are trying to homeschool on a budget. There are several reasons why you might want to think twice about Charlotte Mason homeschooling, and I want to share some of the downsides as well. First of all, Charlotte Mason wrote her curriculum for elementary school aged kids. So there's less guidance for creating a Charlotte Mason homeschool experience for kids in middle and high school. So if you have an older child, you can still do Charlotte Mason. It's just a little bit more challenging to find resources and to really understand how to apply that in older grades. In addition, in Charlotte Mason, kids are following their interests more than they are a curriculum. So there's opportunities for learning gaps to occur if kids aren't interested in specific subjects. So as a homeschool parent who's using a Charlotte Mason curriculum, it's really important to make sure that your kids are getting exposed to a variety of things and to sort of keep track of what they're learning so you can recognize if any of those gaps are occurring. Charlotte Mason also requires a lot of planning for parents to make sure that they're teaching concepts sequentially and not causing any of those learning gaps. So parents really need to be aware of those things as they're teaching with a Charlotte Mason curriculum. And then finally, Charlotte Mason in general tends to be weak in math and in science other than nature studies. So it's important that parents who are considering Charlotte Mason make sure that their kids get plenty of math and plenty of science other than just the nature studies. Charlotte Mason homeschooling might be a good fit for your family if you want to use living books instead of textbooks to teach your kids. If you love books and literature and you're really excited about sharing some of those special books with your child, Charlotte Mason might be a great fit. Charlotte Mason also might be good for families who really enjoy spending time in nature and for parents who want to pass that love of nature along to their child. All of those nature studies are a great way to do that. And then finally, Charlotte Mason might be a good fit for you if you really like the idea of assessing your kids' progress through discussion and journaling instead of through tests. So if those things appeal to you, Charlotte Mason might be a really good fit.